chilling incident unfolded at the Gambetta-Carnot School in Arras, casting a pall over France. A former student, suspected of Islamic radicalization and under security services' watchful eyes, unleashed a brutal attack. The consequence: a teacher lost his life, and 3 others were wounded. The president's office, responding to this ominous event, declared the deployment of 7,000 troops to fortify national security. The suspect, with roots in Russia's Ingushetia region, was part of a grim narrative that has become all too familiar. Against the backdrop of global tensions linked to the Israel-Hamas conflict, President Emmanuel Macron raised the national threat alert. A palpable unease now permeates the air as troops are set to occupy public spaces, a stark reminder of a nation grappling with an uncertain future. Details surrounding the assailant's motive remain elusive, adding to the disquiet. The suspect, uncooperative with investigators, leaves a sinister void in understanding what propelled such an act. The incident occurred as the Gambetta-Carnot School tentatively reopened its doors. Amidst cancelled classes, a community haunted by fear sought solace and support, facing the specter of extremism. The echoes of past tragedies reverberate. The brutal killing of Samuel Paty in 2018 comes to mind, a stark reminder of the persistent threat of radicalization. The recent suspect had been under surveillance, a disconcerting revelation that failed to prevent the horror that unfolded. Authorities suggest a disquieting link between the Middle East conflict and the assailant's decision to strike, leaving the nation on edge. As the nation grapples with grief, questions loom large. Dominique Bernard, a French-language educator, becomes a tragic symbol of a community caught in the crossfire of uncertainty. President Macron's call for unity, though resolute, cannot dispel the foreboding atmosphere. The importance of education, touted as a weapon against ignorance, is underscored amidst the unsettling reality of deploying troops to protect schools. France, now plunged into the aftermath of this grim episode, navigates the delicate balance between fortifying security and preserving the spirit of a united community. The deployment of troops, a somber response to a dark event, leaves an indelible mark on the nation's psyche, underscoring the fragility of peace in a world teetering on the brink. Meanwhile, the situation in the East is starting to pop off, and things are starting to seriously escalate. North Korea lashed out Friday at the arrival of a U.S. aircraft carrier battle group in South Korea, calling it a provocation and again raising the specter of using nuclear weapons to defend itself. Emboldened by its advancing nuclear arsenal, North Korea has increasingly issued threats to use such weapons preemptively. But the North is still outgunned by U.S. and South Korean forces, and experts say it is unlikely to use its nukes first, though it will continue to upgrade those arms without returning to diplomacy for the time being. The North's latest nuclear threat came a day after the USS Ronald Reagan and its battle group arrived at South Korea's southeastern port of Busan, following U.S., South Korean, Japanese naval exercise in international waters earlier this week. South Korean defense officials said the carrier is to be docked at Busan for 5 days, as part of an agreement to increase the temporary deployments of powerful U.S. military assets in response to the North's growing nuclear program. On Friday, the North's official Korean Central News Agency called the aircraft carrier's arrival an undisguised military provocation that proves a U.S. plan to attack North Korea is being realized. It threatened to respond in line with its escalatory nuclear doctrine that authorizes the preemptive use of nuclear weapons. The North Korean doctrine on the use of nuclear weapons, already open to public, allows the execution of necessary action procedures in case a nuclear attack is launched against it, or it is judged that the use of nuclear weapons against it is imminent, the KCNA dispatch said. North Korea's most powerful and rapid first strike will be given to the extended deterrence means, used by the U.S. to hallucinate its followers and the bases of evil in the Korean peninsula and its vicinity, KCNA added. North Korea has argued it was forced to develop nuclear weapons to cope with what it calls the U.S. and South Korean plots to invade. It has often responded furiously to the deployment of U.S. strategic assets such as aircraft carriers, long-range bombers, and nuclear-powered submarines, as well as U.S. joint training exercises with South Korean forces. Many experts say North Korea heightens tensions with its rivals to provide a pretext for expanding its nuclear arsenal, and then uses the arms as leverage to wrest greater outside concessions. Since last year, North Korea has conducted more than 100 missile tests in the name of responding to the expanded U.S.-South Korean military drills. Washington and Seoul say their drills are defensive in nature. Last year, North Korea adopted a law that stipulates a broad range of situations in which it can use nuclear weapons, including when it determines that its leadership faces imminent attack by hostile forces or when it needs to prevent an unspecified catastrophic crisis to its people and government. The U.S. and South Korean governments have repeatedly warned that any attempt by North Korea to use nuclear weapons would result in the end of the North's government led by Kim Jong-un. On Friday, North Korea also accused the U.S. of being behind what it calls a groundless and false rumor that Hamas used North Korean weapons in its recent attack on Israel. Some media outlets, including Radio Free Asia, a U.S. government-funded news service, earlier reported about Hamas's suspected use of North Korean weapons, such as F-7 high-explosive fragmentation rockets. What should not be overlooked is that the U.S. is resorting to its stereotyped smear campaign against North Korea to deliberately link the recent Middle East crisis to the latter, KCNA said in an article attributed to Rai Kwang-song, a commentator on international affairs of North Korea. Ri said the U.S. administration's reptile press bodies and quasi-experts are spreading the rumors but didn't name them. Anyways, thanks everyone for watching. Before I sign off, I just wanted to remind everyone this is a new channel, and all the support you can provide is appreciated. It would be awesome if you could like, comment, and subscribe to the channel. I'll see you guys in the next one.